Welcome to the Sleepy Story, your tranquil haven from the day's rush. As rain taps gently on the roof, picture yourself in a cozy New England workshop, the scent of warm wax rising, the soft flicker of a candle casting calm. Let the rain's soothing rhythm guide you into a tale of heart and hope, where every flame lights a radiant path. In the New England town of Lumvale, where mists clung to the hills, Amos Tate crafted candles that lit every home. At 40, he doubted his humble craft could leave a mark, his workshop dimming under darkness. One rainy night, a stranger arrived with a glowing wick, sparking a journey to prove that perseverance through darkness lights a radiant path. The rain fell softly over Lumvale, Vermont, its gentle patter a soothing hum against the tin roof of Amos Tate's candle-making workshop, a quaint shed nestled along the cobblestone lanes of the small New England town. The air carried the crisp scent of wet wax and cedar, drifting through the workshop's cracked window, mingling with the warm tang of molten tallow. At 40, Amos was Lumvale's candlemaker, his hands rough from years of dipping wicks, his dark hair dusted with ash, his brown eyes steady but shadowed by a quiet doubt. His workshop, Tate's Flame, was a haven of light, its shelves lined with candles, pillars in ivory, tapers in sage, votives in amber, their wicks crackling softly when lit. A wooden bench stood at the center, its surface scarred from countless pores, and the air was thick with the scent of beeswax, a fragrance that clung to the shed's rafters. Lumvale was a town of rustic warmth, its paths winding through clapboard homes and maple groves, with hills cradling birches that glowed gold each autumn. Founded in the 1770s by farmers and craftsmen, it held its history in the fiddles played at town suppers and the cider pressed at markets. Amos's candles were woven into Lumvale's soul. His pillars lit dining tables, his tapers graced church altars, his votives warmed windows at dusk. Townsfolk cherished his work, stopping by with jars of honey or tales of the Green Mountains, their smiles warm as they held his candles. "You're our light, Amos," they'd say. But Amos's heart bore a burden, a fear that his craft, however loved, was too small to matter beyond the hills. He moved through his days with a careful rhythm, rising at dawn to melt wax, his hands stirring pots, the molten glow a language he knew by heart. By mid-morning, he'd dip wicks, shaping ivory pillars, the wax's heat kissing his fingers. At the weekly market in the town square, where maples were strung with lanterns, he'd sell candles, their colors, ivory, sage, amber, catching the light. He'd chat with neighbors like Clara Holt, the librarian who bought his votives, or Nora Pike, a high school junior who helped stack wax blocks. "This taper's magic," Clara would say, holding a sage candle, its wick unlit but promising. Amos would nod, his cheeks flushing. "Just wax," he'd reply, But Clara's words couldn't lift his doubt. The workshop was struggling, rising, costs for wax and wicks, a leaky roof that dripped in storms, competition from factory candles in Burlington. Amos dreamed of a candle-making school teaching kids to dip wicks, a shop in Montpelier showcasing Vermont's artisans, his candles lighting homes across New England. But darkness dulled his ambition, and doubt flickered like a weak flame in his chest. "I'm just a candle maker," he'd think, watching mist curl over the hills. "What can I do?" Despite the town's love, Amos felt his spark fading. "It's just wax," he'd mutter, sweeping ash from the floor as dusk fell, the square's lampposts flickering to life. It burns, it melts, it's forgotten. His father, Elias, had been a candle maker, his hands pouring wax until illness stilled them, passing 13 years ago when Amos was 27. Elias's words echoed, clear as a flame's crackle. "Candles are more than wax, Amos. They're perseverance made bright." But Amos wasn't sure he believed it anymore. He dreamed of a legacy, a school preserving Elias's craft, a brand carrying Lumvale's spirit, his candles in galleries. But obstacles loomed. Debt, a faltering stove, a fear that his perseverance wasn't enough. "I don't shine enough," he'd think, watching the lampposts glow. "What's the point without light?" On a Tuesday in late October, the sky darkened, clouds piling over the hills, heralding a storm. By noon, rain fell in sheets, the lanes slick, shops closing early. Amos was dipping an amber votive, its wax smooth under his hands, when a knock broke through the storm's roar. 3 sharp raps. He set down his wick, wiped his hands on his apron, and opened the door, the wind tugging at his shirt. A woman stood there, her raincoat dripping, her face weathered but purposeful. She was perhaps 60, her silver hair tied back, her eyes like slate, warm yet piercing. "I'm Eliza," she said, stepping inside, her boots leaving wet prints. In her hands was a wooden box, its lid carved with swirling flames. And when she opened it, Amos's breath caught. Nestled within, on a bed of ash, was a coil of wick, its fibers glowing faintly, like stars in dawn, pulsing with a warmth that seemed alive. "I've come far to find a candle maker," Eliza said, her voice rising above the rain's hum. "And Lumvale speaks your name, Amos Tate." Amos froze, his pulse quickening, the wick's glow casting arcs across the workshop, glinting off pillars and tapers. "You've got the wrong person," he said, his hands wax-stained. "I'm no master." Eliza held the box closer, the wick's light dancing in her eyes. "This wick is no ordinary thing," she said. "It's spun from the world's deepest dreams, flames that lit hope, candles that warmed hearts. It burns only for someone who perseveres through darkness." Amos's throat tightened, the wick's glow alive. its warmth radiating. Doubt surged. "I'm not strong enough," he said, his voice trembling. "I'm just keeping the workshop going." Eliza's gaze softened, but her voice held firm. "It is better to light a candle than curse the darkness, Amos. Trust this wick, and trust your hands." She placed the box in Amos's hands, the wood warm, the wick's glow pulsing like a heartbeat. "Craft with it," she said. "Work it with care. Meditate on its light, and let it show you what's possible." Before Amos could protest, Eliza turned, stepping into the storm, her figure fading into the rain. Amos stood alone, the box heavy, the workshop's air warmer, as if the candles were listening. The rain's rhythm matched his heart's thud, the wick's glow casting light across the shelves. Doubts swarmed. What if it's nothing? What if I fail? But Eliza's words echoed. It is better to light a candle than curse the darkness. He set the box by his bench, beside a cooling votive, and lifted the wick, its fibers soft, its warmth steady. He dipped it into ivory wax, the glow pulsing, and crafted a pillar, its flame radiant when lit. By morning, it was a masterpiece, its light a song, its glow filling the workshop. Amos smiled, his perseverance stirring, doubt quieter. He crafted a sage taper next, the wick's glow steady, and the workshop hummed with light, his craft alive with purpose. Clara Holt stopped by, her scarf damp, her eyes wide at the pillar. "This is you, Amos," she said, touching its base. "It's the school you dreamed of." Amos shared Eliza's visit, and Clara urged him to pursue it. Nora Pike sketched the taper, pushing for a Montpellier market, and Mr. Reed, a farmer, tied Amos's work to Lumvale's legacy. Each night, Amos meditated, the wick's glow warm. Visions of a school and shop vivid. Doubt lingered, but the wick's light urged him to craft. His perseverance a steady flame, lighting a path through every darkness. The winter market's glow lingered in Lumvale like the scent of mulled cider. Its success a spark that set Amos, Tate's workshop ablaze with possibility. Rain fell in soft waves, pattering against the tin roof of Tate's flame. The hills cloaked in frost, their birches a fading silver. Amos stood at his bench, dipping the glowing wick into amber wax, its faint light pulsing as the votive formed, the wax shimmering with each layer, its glow spreading like a heartbeat trapped in tallow. The market had been a triumph, his glowing candles, ivory pillars, sage tapers, amber votives, selling out under the square's lantern-lit maples, their radiant flames drawing gasps from townsfolk. Mr. Reed had bought the sage taper, its glow dancing in his eyes like a winter dawn. "You're lighting Lumvale's soul, Amos," he'd said, his voice warm as his cider. Ms. Clara had taken the ivory pillar, its light steady as her library. and a teacher had claimed the amber votive, its flame grounding her classroom's chatter. The coins in Amos's tin clinked with promise, heavy with more than money. A surge of pride, a perseverance for his craft that burned brighter than ever, tempered by Eliza's words. It is better to light a candle than curse the darkness. Clara. Holt's encouragement at the market. This is the school you dreamed of, and Nora Pike's sketch of a school sign, its flame logo bold, had taken root in Amos's heart, urging him to craft with resolve, to let his perseverance shine through every flame. He worked with a quiet joy, the rain's rhythm a steady guide, his hands moving with a candlemaker's grace as he melted beeswax for a new pillar, its wax infused with the glowing wick, the scent of warm wax sharp and wild like the hills beyond the workshop. He dipped carefully, the wick's glow pulsing, and the pillar took shape, its surface smooth, its glow pulsing like a star in a snowy night. The workshop hummed with warmth, its shelves lined with unlit candles, sage tapers, amber votives, ivory pillars, their wicks promising light. Townsfolk crowded in daily, their boots tracking mud across the pine floor, their eyes wide at the amber votive's radiance, its glow casting arcs across the walls, glinting off pots and wicks stacked on the bench. It's like sunlight caught in wax, said Mr. Reed one frosty morning, clutching a jar of honey as thanks, his hands gnarled, his smile warm. Amos blushed, his cheeks pink under his dark hair, and showed him the sage taper, its glow steady when he trimmed it, its flame delicate like dawn through pines. "You're building something big, Amos," Mr. Reed said, his voice firm, his eyes tracing the taper's light. Amos deflected, his voice soft. "It's just wax." But Mr. Reed's belief settled heavy in his chest, a reminder to keep crafting, to let his perseverance light the way. The workshop was a haven, its air thick with beeswax and cedar, and Amos felt not just a candlemaker, but a dreamer, his perseverance a steady flame, pushing him to create despite the doubts that flickered in his mind. What if I can't keep this up? What if it's not enough? Nora Pike knocked mid-morning, her high school jacket damp from the rain, her sketchbook tucked under her arm, its pages bulging with designs. "Heard you're a legend already," she said, stepping inside, her sneakers squeaking on the floor, her freckled face bright with excitement. Amos hesitated, then showed her the amber votive and sage taper, their glow catching the light in Nora's eyes, their flames dancing softly. "Wow," Nora said, her pencil flying across her sketchbook, capturing the votive's radiant glow, its light like a meadow at dusk. "These are unreal, Mr. Tate. You gotta show them in Montpelier at the craft market next month." Tansi's own stomach tightened, the cost of a stall looming large. his savings still thin despite the market's success. "They're just candles," he said, his voice low, but Nora's eyes gleamed, undeterred. "They're art, like that school you mentioned last spring." Amos blinked, startled, his mind flashing to a passing comment he'd made to Nora while pouring wax, a dream of a candle-making school buried under years of doubt. "That was just talk," he said. But Nora handed him a new sketch, a workshop interior, kids dipping wicks, flames glowing under a beamed ceiling. "For when you're ready," Nora said, grinning, her enthusiasm a spark that warmed Amos's chest. He took the sketch, his fingers brushing the paper, a possibility flaring brighter than his doubts. The day stretched on, the rain's rhythm a soft pulse, and Amos crafted an ivory pillar, its glowing wick shaped into a steady flame. It so wax smooth, its glow flickering like a heartbeat when he lit it. The workshop's air was alive with the scent of wax and rain, its shelves a constellation of unlit promises. He meditated as he worked, the rain's patter pulling him into a quiet trance, and visions came, vivid and warm. A candle-making school in Lumvale's Square, its benches bustling with kids like Nora dipping wicks, their laughter mingling with the scent of beeswax and pine, families wandering through, their faces soft in the glow, artisans learning the craft, their candles lighting homes across Vermont, even Boston. A shop in Montpelier, its shelves lined with his work, his candles warming parlors far beyond the hills, their flames carrying Lumvale's heart. The visions were so clear, they felt like memories waiting to be lit. But obstacles loomed, heavy as wet snow. A supplier had raised wax prices, citing shortages after a poor harvest, and Amos's savings, though bolstered by the winter market, dwindled with each new wick. "I can't afford this," he muttered, melting a batch of sage wax, its scent grounding him. But the wick's glow pulsed in its coil, and Eliza's words steadied him. "It is better to light a candle than curse the darkness." He bartered with a local beekeeper, offering a set of glowing candles, ivory pillar, sage taper, amber votive, their flames radiant, their glow a promise of Lumvale's craft. Amos's voice was steady, his perseverance shining as he described. The candle's glow. The beekeeper's eyes softened, her fingers tracing the wax, and she agreed, delivering blocks of beeswax days later, soft and fragrant. A small victory born of resilience. Clara Holt organized a town meeting to support Amos's dream. The community hall packed with townsfolk, their faces ruddy from the chill, the air warm with the scent of coffee and wood smoke. Amos stood at the front, his hands trembling, his apron swapped for a wool sweater, and shared his vision, a candle-making school in Lumvale, a place for the town's craft to thrive, for kids to learn the art of light, for his candles to brighten the world beyond the hills. He braced for skepticism, his heart thudding, but the room erupted in cheers, hands clapping, voices calling out. "We're with you, Amos," shouted Mr. Reed, his farmer's hands raised, his grin wide. "Let's build it," said Nora, waving her sketch of the school, its flame logo glowing in pencil. Clara, her librarian's scarf bright, proposed a town supper to raise funds, her eyes shining with pride. "Your candles are our light," she said, and Amos's doubts lightened, the weight of his dream shared by a town ready to shine alongside him. He nodded, his throat tight, a smile breaking through, his perseverance, a flame that felt unstoppable. But a setback struck the next day, heavy as the rain that pounded the workshop's roof. The stove's burner failed, its coils rusted from years of use, halting Amos's work on a batch of tapers for Montpellier's shop, their deadline looming. His heart sank, doubt flaring like a snuffed wick. "I can't lose the stove now. Not when I'm so close." He inspected the burner, his hands shaking, the rain's roar mocking his efforts. But Nora arrived, unbidden, her jacket soaked, her arms full of tools. "Let's fix it," Nora said, her voice firm. And together they replaced the coils, their wrenches clanging through the storm, their laughter breaking through the cold. Amos's perseverance burned brighter, the wick's glow in its coil, reminder to craft through obstacles, to keep dipping despite the rust, the costs, the doubts that threatened to dim his light. By dusk, the stove hummed, the workshop warm, and Amos hugged Nora, his gratitude a steady flame. The town supper filled Lumvale's square a week later, lanterns swaying under the rain's soft veil, their light dancing on the cobblestones. Fiddles sang, their notes weaving through the chatter of townsfolk sipping warm cider, their mittens clutching mugs, their faces flushed with joy. Nora's posters, pinned to the maples, drew a crowd, their flame logos bold, and Clara's raffle of Amos's, amber votive, sparked cheers. The candles glow a beacon in the dusk. Amos, usually shy, stepped forward, his voice steady, and thanked the town, his words simple but heartfelt. "You've made my dream real." His humility, it's just wax, was met with applause, hands clapping, voices calling his name. Funds poured in, coins and bills filling Clara's tin, enough to buy lumber for the school's foundation. Amos's chest swelled, his perseverance no longer a flicker, but a blaze, each candle a testament to his love for his craft. Eliza visited one rainy evening, her raincoat glistening in the workshop's glow, her slate eyes bright as she studied the sage taper, its glow pulsing like a heart. "You're shining, Amos," she said, her voice soft but sure, cutting through the rain's hum. "The perseverance?" Amos asked, trimming the ivory pillar, its light glinting white. Eliza nodded, her smile gentle. "It's in every flame. Do you trust it?" Amos sighed, the wick warm in his hand, its glow a star in his palm. "I see the school, the shop, in Montpellier," he admitted, his voice low. But the obstacles, money, time, this stove, they're heavy. Eliza's eyes softened, her hand resting on Amos's. Perseverance lights the way, Amos. The wicks showing you a legacy. Keep crafting. She left, her figure fading into the rain, and Amos sat, the workshop quiet, but for the rain's patter and the crackle of a lit votive. He meditated. The wick's glow warmed, and the visions returned, clearer than ever. The school alive with light, kids crafting, his candles glowing far beyond Lumvale. He crafted a new amber votive, its scent sharp, its glow a beacon, his perseverance burning stronger, one flame at a time. Winter's frost tightened its grip on Lumvale, the rain a soft whisper against the tin roof of Tate's flame. The hills heavy with snow, their bare birches etched against a slate-gray sky, like delicate wicks waiting to be lit. Amos Tate stood at his bench, dipping the glowing wick into sage wax, its faint light pulsing as the taper formed, the wax shimmering with each layer, its glow spreading like a heartbeat trapped in tallow. The Montpelier Craft Market's success had spread his name across Vermont, orders pouring in from Burlington and Stowe for glowing candles, ivory pillars, amber votives, sage tapers, each flame a testament to his perseverance through darkness. The candle-making school's foundation was rising in Lumvale Square, its oak beams sturdy against the winter storms, a monument to Amos's resolve and the community's faith. His perseverance burned bright, a fire fueled by Eliza's words, etched in his heart since that rainy October night. It is better to light a candle than curse the darkness. Doubt flickered, faint but sharp. Can I meet these demands? Is the school too big a dream? But the wick's glow was a beacon, urging him to craft with resolve, to let his candles light a radiant path. The workshop was a radiant hub, its benches humming with creation, the air thick with the scent of beeswax and the damp breath of snow, its shelves lined with candles that promised light through Lumvale's harsh winters. Townsfolk crowded in, their boots dusted with snow from hill trails, their voices soft with pride as they studied the amber votive, its glowing flame casting arcs across the pine walls, glinting off pots and wicks stacked on the workbench. "These candles are our heart," said Mr. Reed, his farmer's hands cradling a sage taper, its glow steady, its light as warm as his cider vats. Amos smiled, his dark hair dusted with ash, his brown eyes soft, and showed him a new ivory pillar, its glow warm like spring over the hills, its wax infused with the scent of cedar from a batch he'd melted himself. "You're unstoppable, Amos," Mr. Reed said, his voice firm, his eyes tracing the pillar's light. Amos deflected, his voice low. "It's just wax." But Mr. Reed's belief settled heavy in his chest, a call to craft through doubt, to light perseverance in every darkness. The workshop was alive with the crackle of flames, its air thick with cedar and hope, and Amos felt not just a candle maker, but a visionary. His perseverance a steady glow, binding light into every candle, facing every adversity with resolve. He worked with a perseverance that felt boundless. The rains whisper a gentle guide, his hands steady as he melted wax for a new votive, its amber hue soft under his rough fingers, the glowing wick woven through, its light pulsing like a heartbeat in the lamplight. The amber caught the workshop's glow, its rich shade deep as the hills under snow, and Amos dipped, the wick's rhythm a song that drowned out the doubt that lingered. What if I'm not enough? What if I dim under the pressure? Meditations deepened each night, the rain's rhythm pulling him into a quiet trance, the wick's glow a star in his hands, its light warm against his skin. Visions flooded his mind, vivid and clear, as if the wick were lighting them, a candle-making school thriving in the square, its benches alive with kids like Nora Pike dipping wicks, their laughter blending with the scent of beeswax and pine. Artisans from Burlington learning the craft, their candles, lighting homes across New England, even California, a shop in Montpelier, its shelves radiant with his creations, his candles brightening parlors far beyond the hills, their flames carrying Lumvale's heart to the world. The visions were so real, Amos sketched them nightly. School displays with glowing candles, lesson plans for kids, candle designs with intricate molds, his pencil swift, his doubt a mere flicker against his perseverance's fire. But a setback struck, sharp as the blizzards that swept the hills, its weight threatening to snuff his resolve. A wax shortage hit Lumvale, the beeswax and tallow stocks running low after a supplier's harvest failed, halting Amos's work on a batch of pillars for Burlington's gallery, their deadline looming. His heart sank, doubt surging like a cold wind. I can't lose these orders now. Not with the school so close. He paced the pine floor, the rain's whisper a taunt, the empty wax pots stark on the shelf, but the wick's glow pulsed in its coil, and Eliza's words steadied him. It is better to light a candle than curse the darkness. He sat, dipping the sage taper over his bench, its glow warm, and devised a plan. He bartered with a beekeeper in Stowe, offering a set of glowing candles, ivory pillar, amber votive, sage taper, their flames radiant, their glow a promise of Lumvale's craft. Amos's voice was steady, his perseverance shining as he described the candles' glow, their warmth, their heart. The beekeeper's eyes softened, her fingers tracing the wax, and she agreed, delivering blocks of beeswax days later, soft and fragrant, a triumph born of resolve. Clara Holt arrived one evening, her librarian's coat damp, a grant letter clutched. In her hand, her scarf bright against the workshop's glow. "The Arts Council's funding the school's walls," she said, her eyes shining, her voice warm with pride. "Your candles did it, Amos. They see your perseverance." Amos's throat tightened, the support a lifeline, his hands trembling. As he set down an amber votive, its glow glinting in the lamplight. "I keep stumbling," he admitted, his voice low, the pillar's ivory light dancing in his brown eyes. Clara's smile was firm, her hand resting on Amos's. "You keep lighting, Amos. That's radiance." She planned a winter fair to raise more funds, her enthusiasm a spark that warmed the workshop. And Amos nodded, his perseverance battling the doubt that lingered like frost on the hills. Nora Pike, sketching the votive's amber glow. Her pencil, swift, added her own encouragement. "Burlington's just the start, Mr. Tate. Your candles are ready for more." Amos agreed, his heart lifting, and began packing the sage taper and ivory pillar, their glow radiant in their crates, his perseverance a steady flame that lit through every fear. The winter fair transformed Lumvale's square, lanterns glowing under the snow's soft veil, their light dancing on the cobblestones, the air alive with the scent of pies and pine. Fiddles sang, their notes weaving through the chatter of townsfolk trading quilts, jams, and cider, their faces flushed with warmth despite the chill. Nora's posters, pinned to the maples, drew crowds, their flame logos bold, and Clara's raffle of Amos's sage taper sparked cheers. The candle's glow a beacon in the dusk, its flame tight as the town's heart. Amos stepped forward, his voice steady, his sweater soft against his skin, and spoke to the crowd, his words simple but heartfelt. "You've made my dream real. These candles are our strength, lit with perseverance." His humility, "It's just wax," was met with applause, hands clapping, voices calling his name, the square alive with the town's belief. Funds poured in, coins and bills filling Clara's tin, enough to buy plaster for the school's walls, the structure rising taller in the square, its oak beams a promise of light. A new challenge struck, heavy as the snow that followed, its weight testing Amos's resolve. A critic in a Burlington paper reviewed his candles, praising their glow but doubting their broad appeal, calling them quaint and niche. The words stung, doubt flaring like a smudged wick. What if I've gone too far? What if I'm not enough? He sat, dipping the amber votive over his bench, its glow warm, and thought of Elias, his father's hands pouring wax through lean years, his voice steady. "We'll light the world." Amos had been 15, his own hands learning, and now, 25 years later, he refused to let doubt extinguish his dream. He sent the sage taper and ivory pillar to a New York gallery, his perseverance pushing through, his voice firm as he described their glow to the curator. Orders arrived days later, Requests for pillars, tapers, votives to brighten homes across the Northeast. Proof that his craft could shine beyond the critic's words. Amos's chest swelled, his perseverance a fire that burned through doubt, each candle a testament to his resolve. Eliza visited one snowy night, her raincoat dripping in the workshop's glow, her slate eyes bright as she studied the amber votive, its glow pulsing like a heart. "You've lit it, Amos," she said, her voice soft but sure, cutting through the snow's whisper. "The perseverance?" Amos asked, trimming the sage taper, its light glinting green. Eliza nodded, her smile gentle, her hand resting on the bench. "It's in every flame. Trust it always." She handed Amos a new coil of glowing wick, its fibers radiant, a twin to the first, and left, her figure fading into the snow, her presence a spark that warmed the workshop. Amos sat, the workshop quiet, but for the snow's murmur and the crackle of a lit votive, and meditated, the wick's glow warm in his hands. The visions were clearer than ever, the school thriving, kids crafting, artisans teaching, his candles, brightening homes far beyond Lumvale. He crafted a new ivory pillar, its glow a gift for Clara, its flame tight as his resolve, his perseverance a fire that had lit a path to radiance. The school's walls were laid, their plaster gleaming under. The winter sun, and Amos prepared for its opening, his hands careful but eager as he dipped a sage votive, its glow radiant, its wax a promise for the kids who'd learned there. The snow had eased, leaving Lumvale's square sparkling, its maples bare but bright, the air crisp with spring's promise. Nora helped hang posters, her sketches now banners, her chatter bright. "You're gonna change the world, Mr. Tate," she said, her grin wide, and Amos laughed, his doubt quieter, his perseverance a steady rhythm. The workshop was alive with light, its air thick with beeswax and hope, and Amos felt his perseverance burn brighter, each candle a step toward a radiant path, a testament to the craft he loved, a flame that could light his dreams far beyond the hills. Spring's warmth bloomed in Lumvale, the rain a soft patter against the tin roof of Tate's flame. The hills, lush with new green, their wild flowers nodding in the breeze, their colors dancing through the mist, like flames in a gentle wind. Amos Tate stood at his bench, dipping the glowing wick into amber wax, its faint light pulsing as the votive formed, the wax shimmering with each layer, its glow vibrant despite the season's storms. The Burlington Gallery's orders had grown, his glowing candles, ivory, pillars, sage tapers, amber votives, selling out with new requests from Montpelier and a shop in Boston, each flame fueling his work. The candle-making school's clapboard facade stood tall in the town square, its windows glowing with candles, crafted by kids, artisans, and Amos himself. a monument to his perseverance and the community's belief. The lesson of the candlemaker's glow is that perseverance through darkness lights a radiant path. Challenges are shadows to be met with resolve, creating a flame that endures. Trust in your craft's glow. Let it guide your hands, and watch your dreams light a tomorrow that shines bright.